Hello, I'm Rick Stivers. Welcome to YoungMartin'sReels. A few weeks back, I did a Pinnacle reel, and this is another Pinnacle reel. This is the RM-50, and this was handed to me by a neighbor and asked if I could do anything with it. He basically, he bought it from, I think he said that he got it at the Salvation Army, but it didn't have a handle. He wanted to know if I could find a handle for it. Well, I did find a handle for it, and put it in and spun it up, and when I did, it just made a horrible grinding sound. And so I said, well, okay, that sounds like the main bearing is gone. So I popped the cover off, the spool, and removed the axle shaft. And when I did, I found, well, let's tell you what, let's go ahead and do this the way I did it, so that you guys will bask in the glory that I found also. Okay, what I did, because this goes up underneath here, so we have to be able to remove this. Well, I wanted to remove this, and it didn't want to come off, but you can get it off. Okay, so we slid the washers up, and they did not want to come up easily. Okay, so that washer's off, and then comes that one. Now we're going to take off the screw. Okay, we got the screw out, and that then allowed me to go in and remove the nut on the rotor, and this one is reverse threaded, so it means it comes off in a clockwise direction. Took that off. I took the rotor off, and the rotor did not trip, so I spent a little time working on the rotor, cleaned it up a bit so that it would then trip nicely, which it does. It actually trips very nice now. It's not real smooth. You can still feel just a little bit of grind in it, but it's much better than it was. So I got that taken care of. Then I went ahead and popped the bearing out, and the bus bearing, I don't have it anymore. I threw it away. The bearing was completely corroded over. It would barely turn. So I had a new bearing. I put the new bearing in there, and you can see it right here. There's the new bearing. You just take these two screws out to get it out. And I took that out, but before I got to that point, or I went ahead and did that. And then let's go ahead and take this side cover off and see where things progressed from there. Now we're going to take the side cover off. Like so. And so far things didn't look too bad. So let's go ahead and rotate the, oh, something doesn't look right. Notice that the gear is turning, but the crosswind block is not. Okay, so what's the problem? Well, let's go ahead and see if we can get the screw out of the crosswind block, so we can remove the axle and be able to remove the gear. There's, oh, didn't even need to. Okay, there's the axle shaft out. I don't see where the screw went to, though. It may still be in here, and I just don't see it. All right, now it's time to take the crosswind block out. And now notice that the crosswind block is held in by a screw. Well, I went to clean the screw, and when I did, I noticed that, uh-oh, everything is moving. Why is everything moving? And I grabbed hold of it, I found that the post for the crosswind block was snapped off. So basically, that makes this a scrap reel. It just really isn't a decent way to fix that. I did contemplate taking the screw out, setting the post in place, and trying to glue it in, but you're not going to have any strength from that. It's an inexpensive reel to begin with, and to kind of put that kind of effort into trying to make it work, it's just not worth it. There's the screw, way over there. All right, so let's go ahead and steal my bearing back out of this, and I can put it with my other bearings, since I put a brand new bearing in this. All right, I got that to there. Now I can take my bearing out. So there's the new bearing. Okay, what I do have is a perfectly good pinion gear. However, the main gear for this is not perfectly good. As you can see right here, it's missing a tooth. All right, so they gave me the bushings. The bushings are still good. The main gear is shot. Pinion gear is good. The axle shaft actually was bent. When I first attempted to remove it, I couldn't because the axle shaft was bent over like this. And I was able to take my pliers and straighten it out enough to be able to get the axle shaft to come out. So the axle shaft is reasonably straight again, and that's reusable. The crosswind block is okay. It's reusable. It can go into another reel, so that's good. Let's take a look at the crosswind gear. If we lost a tooth on the crosswind block, the odds are pretty good that we might have lost one on the crosswind gear as well. And it's pretty corroded. Look, I'm going to take it off the camera here a second, scrub it down, and see what we come up with. Okay, the crosswind block itself appears to be in pretty good shape. Sorry, crosswind gear. And I think that's salvageable if you can get the screw out of the post. It's in there pretty well. But I can probably lock onto that with a pair of channel locks and unscrew that out of there. So that part is salvageable. The anti-reverse lever here is also salvageable. So we'll go ahead and remove that from the case. All right. And we will go ahead and remove the anti-reverse override switch out of the case, since that's still usable. You never know exactly what part is going to render a reel unserviceable, so you really don't want to throw too many parts away that you might be able to use later. There we go. Got that out. This part is scrap, along with the main gear. The rest of these parts on this reel are serviceable, and they're going to go into my parts bag so that one day they may return life to another Pinnacle reel, although I don't see that many Pinnacle reels. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and lock our bag. And what Pinnacle did I say this was? A RM-50. RM-50. Okay. And I had already taken this back and discussed it with the customer, and he realized that this was not ever going to be a functional reel again. And he understood. So let's see, we're going to keep the bearing separate. That was mine separate. And a lot of times a bearing from one thing will fit the bearing on something else. All right, so there we have the Pinnacle RM-50 ready to go into the parts bin, so that maybe one day it will bring life to another reel. And like I said, these parts, they're going to scrap. So for now, that's Rick Stivers of Young Martin's Reels, showing you a fail video. Signing out.